Blog Talk Radio.
Greetings and salutations. This is your HempAware host, Tyler Hemp. We deeply appreciate you tuning in and getting educated and empowered with the most knowledge, information, and from hemp artists, pioneers, and farmers, special guests, hemp health, hemp innovation, history, hemp live, and hemp for more than influential, world-class, lasting organizations and brands to the market that not only provide quality products and services with honorable ethics and core values, but they're seriously changing the economy with hemp. Dion has been in the cannabis and hemp industry since 1991. He's the creator of the Cannabis College of Amsterdam, which I've been to at least 3 times, by the way. And he's also the creator of the first hemp store in Amsterdam over 20 years ago called Cannabis in Amsterdam, where they offered hemp clothing. He's done major hemp fashion shows, as well as having worked with Dr. Bronner's Magic Soaps for 14 years. And he's now spreading a few spearheading a few, one of, if not the number one cannabis investment company in the world. Dion is truly an exemplary entrepreneur and someone who stands up for and lives for what he believes to be the solution, as do I, for our food, shelter, clothing, energy, medicine, and is just on the forefront of this amazing movement. It's an honor and a privilege to have him on today's show. I'm just waiting for him to call in any minute here. But before for the first time over, and we were having a little conversation, and when he said, I mentioned that I was, I had been to the Cannabis College of Amsterdam, and he said, well, I'm the creator of it. It just, my jaw dropped. I was so thankful and honored to meet him in person. So now it's an honor and a privilege to have him on today's show. Hey, Dion, thanks so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Right on. So I gave a little introduction while you were
Hello?
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, now I can. You went out there for a second.
Okay. So hopefully we can keep our good connection here. But today's show, I'd really like to dive into your history, how you got into the hemp world, what inspired you, and then we can get into more, the nitty-gritty of what you're up to today. But I'd love to, I kind of gave an introduction of your history as, being the creator of the Cannabis in Amsterdam store. You're the creator of the Cannabis College of Amsterdam. You've invested in some really amazing companies, and General Hemp is now the name of your company now. But before we get into today, tell us a little bit about your history. What initially inspired you to get into the hemp movement?
Well, I've been in the hemp movement about 25 years. I guess what got me into it was really the truth of the plan itself. I was in college studying for political science at San Diego State and looking for, a subject that I could write my senior thesis about. And the more I found out about cannabis, the more I found out there was about cannabis. It could be all these things. And especially back then and now, the war we have against this plant, it just didn't make sense to me. So the more I looked into it for my research, the more I found out about it. And, I saw it as a solution to so many problems. and, using my energy for sort of the best I could, be for changing the world for the better. I thought it was smart to work on cannabis.
I completely agree. I have a very similar story and feel that our visions and mission are very harmonious. And, being that you're in the field of investments and you've come through so many different industries as it relates to hemp, both cannabis as well as industrial hemp. And I thought it would be fun to, as you know, I'm a lover of words, and I appreciate the power of words. I thought to share the word economics, which you may know. If you break it down, eco comes from the Greek word home or house, and nomics, like economics or nomics, comes from the word numbers for accounting or management. So essentially, economy or economics is really the management of our home. And all know we don't just live in a house, we live here on the planet, and so the earth is our home. And that's why in school it's called home economics. And I know that we both feel, that the most essential solution and ideal solution for our home and economics. And so that's why I'm so excited to have you on today's show. You see the value of hemp as not only a financial viability to transform our economy, for the economics of it, or the financial aspect, but also for the health benefits of it. So I'm curious, what are some of the most exciting? You've done so many things in the hemp world. What were and what are some of the most exciting or things that you were most inspired about to work with in the hemp field, or maybe you're doing today?
Well, I would actually say today is the most exciting time because all the things we've talked about or theorized over the years, we're actually implementing now or starting, and it's even greater than what we've been saying all these years. So it's kind of like we've been sort of poo-pooed by outsiders or other people saying that we were exaggerating some of the things that cannabis can be. And lo and behold, we're finding out that we were understating really the whole time when it comes to, things like cannabis being the best battery. I mean, that is like one of the most amazing things. And I think we're just scratching the surface of, all the possible things that cannabis can be.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I mean, I first heard about hemp, when I was in my early teens. I knew about twine. And I've heard you tell the story when you first got involved. The only thing you could buy was a piece of hemp rope or twine. You just put it around your neck and you were walking around showing people. But now, like you said, look at BMWs putting hemp fiber composites in their cars. We've got people innovating hemp batteries. We've got hemp houses being erected. It's truly a miracle to see the manifestation of this plant coming into our world. And, I'm curious, what is your vision for the United States hemp industry and also the global hemp industry? Where do you see it going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I guess with not trying to over-exaggerate, I see us taking over the world. I mean, I think it's more debatable, what can't cannabis be? And beyond glass, I don't know too many things that cannabis can't be. And for me, this whole time, the whole sort of revolution with the whole process, it's really ultimately like back to the political science level where I got into it in the beginning. It's more, it creates a society that's more equal and more egalitarian and gives the power to the farmers. And so I see, this world revolution happening that the world needs, giving the power to the farmer, to the individuals, to the communities, rather than, pushing the power to in the hands of a few people that sort of manipulate us and take advantage of us. So ultimately, that's hopefully, this world will be creating.
I completely agree, and it's people like you that I feel so much hope and faith that it is going to work out to the greatest advantage for the whole. And I have heard the expression that even if we distributed all the wealth, or if all of the wealth in the world was distributed to all 7 billion people, that within a very short period of time, because of the mentality of finances or the mentality of wealth, most of the wealth would go back to, in 5 to 10 years, all of the people that know how to collect it or how to manage that financial material or wealth. And being that you're in the investment industry of cannabis, I'd love to learn a little bit from you as to what do you look for in a company that you're going to invest in? What are some of the key principles or some of the things that you look for before investing in a hemp company?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the people behind it. To a certain degree, most things are equal. Let's say, cannabis is what it is. Society is what it is. It's really the people that are the big difference, their ethics, their ability, their ability to perform, their ability to, work with others. I've seen so many businesses come and go over the years, and, it basically always boils down to the people behind it that, really, for the most part, proves whether there's success or not. People need a sort of fortitude to fight through and be strong and, be smart. And I've seen a lot of successful situations disintegrate just because the people behind it, for one reason or another, couldn't get along. And like in the cannabis world, we see this often in the past, with people who get together with growing, for example, maybe 2 or 3 people get together and they all have certain abilities, but then it just breaks down with different, characteristics that, people get bent out of shape if they're only watering twice and the other guys were watering 4 times. And so then, it's kind of the same thing, but on a bigger scale with bigger business, it boils down really, I think, to the people.
To the attitude and to the characteristics of the people that are doing the project. Yeah,
and their ability, their experience, to get things done. And,
knowledge.
There's give and take.
Most certainly. So that's a great insight. It's not just about do they have the knowledge, but do they have the right attitude? Do they have the skills? Do they have the experience? And so I'm curious, what platforms or what systems have you found are essential to success? I mean, let's say a group of people, they've got the right team, everybody's really good at what they do, they've got the skill sets, they've got the right attitude, they've got the courage to do what it takes, to take risks and to keep trotting through. What type of systems have you observed are essential to continue and keep that success organized?
Well, I think the biggest thing I find in business is communication and planning and execution. If any of those things break down, then you don't see the same kinds of success. But it's interesting in the whole cannabis evolution. If you look at different companies, there's all kinds of, say, theoretical ways you can sort of do business. Like I like to point to out of Canada, the difference between Manitoba, and say Hemp Oil Canada. They're like similar companies, but they've got a sort of different way that they've built themselves up, and both are valid. But again, it's the people behind it. With Hemp Oil Canada, you have one strong person in Sean Crew who really was, basically getting everything done. But and then the opposite model, in a way, was Manitoba, who did it more cooperatively and, more with their ability to bring people together and work together.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So you're saying either way could be successful. It's just a matter of what works best for your operation. It could be a big team of people that kind of the leadership is spread out, or it could be concentrated to where one person's kind of the leader of the pack.
Right, and so then you go back to basically it's the people behind it that prove to be successful.
Awesome. So as we mentioned, there's so many different things that could be produced out of hemp. We've got hemp energy cell batteries, hemp fiber composites. What do you see as being a product that is a universal product that anybody could use, and let's say when they use it, they have no idea that it's hemp? What's a product that you see could be kind of like that flagship hemp product that when you hand it to somebody, like let's just say, a Republican, just as an example, some person that's completely against cannabis, they're not open to listening to it, but when they use this product, they go, wow, this is an awesome product, and they use it for 10 minutes, and then after you say, yeah, and it's hemp. What would be a good example of a product that somebody might be able to develop that could be that product?
Well, my favorite, and I think kind of universal, that if you want to be successful, is hemp food. So I would take hemp milk and say, like, that would be or even better, hemp ice cream. Like, say, hemp chocolate ice cream. There's the Pacific has a hemp chocolate milk that to me is the best product in the whole hemp world, and I've never met someone who didn't like it, So wow. I really, and the thing for me too, like the food is, something everyone needs every day, whereas like say car parts or, even clothes to a certain degree, it's a little bit abstract and you need a little bit more thinking to appreciate it. Whereas, hemp food, the food is probably, the biggest problem that we're facing on the planet. So if we could, just make a dent into the whole bad patterns that we've developed, I think, for me, the hemp milk is the one that I think you could pretty much give anyone. And if they didn't, know what it was, and then you told them after, they would probably be surprised.
Right. That's a great idea. And from an investment perspective, you're saying not only is it something that's a consumable product, so it's something people will buy on a weekly basis, but it's something that is also going to raise awareness about the quality and integrity of our foods. Where are they coming from? How are they being grown? Are they being grown organically or with pesticides and herbicides and fungicides and larvicides and with GMO seeds? But with hemp, you're saying, not only does it have the proteins and the essential fatty acids and the minerals, but it's also a tool to teach people, look, this is a gateway product into not just food, but all these other things. So I love that. I'm going to utilize that in my education and marketing, which kind of brings me to the next topic. I'd love to discuss a little bit more about your vision for the International Cannabis University. Tell us more about that and what you guys are up to.
Well, that's kind of been my lifelong project that I started back in, Amsterdam. As we probably all people who look into the subject, in a short time will realize that, this is really just an education campaign that we need to conduct. And once people know the difference and know the power of cannabis, that they would make the wise choice, because it's a choice for their own benefit, really. And so it's sort of been my way of being organized and serious and sort of academic with facts that I have tried over the years to get across to people. And, my life has been a little bit chaotic, so I haven't been able to really do as much as I've wanted to. But now with, the most important event in history coming up next year with our chance to legalize cannabis in California, I feel morally obligated to try my hardest to get, this campaign going again of education. And next Saturday, I'm having my first class in a while in Tijuana, and we're doing a hemp construction class all day on Saturday the 24th. And, I hope to start having them every few weeks to every week by the time the campaign is around by this time next year.
Wonderful. I would love to discuss with you what we could do together with HempAware, because obviously, I've been in the hemp industry for 14 years now, and when my grandmother first showed me hemp protein powder, before that I knew about hemp twine, and I also knew about cannabis as, a recreational herb or medicinal. But the second that she showed me hemp protein powder, I knew why I was on this planet. I put a little bit of almond milk with it, and it was from a company called Living Harvest, which I now am working with the original founder still, distributing bulk hemp foods. But my passion was the education, just like you. And so I, immediately packed my bags by the time I was 20. And I went to Europe, France, Germany, England, Netherlands, and just started absorbing and soaking up as much knowledge and information and meeting entrepreneurs and educators, like yourself. And I'm amazed that it took so long for us to meet. We met for the first time in Kentucky a couple of weeks ago, which was just a blessing and an honor. I feel so privileged to have connected with you. But we have a project up here in Northern California, which I'd love to discuss with you a little bit further. I've got a friend, Jimmy Limo, who owns 40 acres of property in the town of Weed in California, and he wants to build a hemp amphitheater, or a hempatheater is what we're going to call it, where it's, not only educational, but obviously for music and plays, and it's right in Weed, so it could be a perfect little spot for, doing programs or doing educational workshops. So I'd love to discuss that with you maybe at another time.
Yeah, I love basically, this is a campaign that needs to happen as soon as possible and around the world. And I love, again, that this evolution of the revolution is happening. And, it's not happening quick enough for us, but I'm glad to see it happen. And we need, these sort of education centers and examples everywhere.
Exactly, and that reminds me, one other project that's I'm working on at the moment. A friend of mine, he owns several buildings, not only in Weed, California, but also near the Mount Shasta area, and he owns a hotel. He's very eco-friendly minded. He really appreciates the plant-based lifestyle and eco-friendly products and also knowledge and education. And he wants to turn one of the rooms in his hotel into a hemp room, where it's, a hemp library room where we have hemp books and all the examples of the, different hemp items. So I would love to have you as one of our educators and maybe work together on that. But back to hemp as a business, hemp investments. We've got about 5 minutes left. I'd love to hear two questions. My first question is, what are some of the foundational principles that you live by to have a successful business, or just in general, what are some of your life principles that you live by? Maybe, 3 principles that you apply on a daily basis for your success.
Well, I don't know. I have to think about that one. I guess, I suppose discipline is a big one. You got to be, disciplined, and, I guess another one would be sort of have a, long-term vision and a long-term strategy. I kind of, it seems I'm always wanting to get things done and are anxious, and I sort of approach things like a sprinter mentality, where I would be like, okay, I'll get this done real quick and I'll sprint it out and it'll be over. Whereas reality is more, it's like a marathon, and you should sort of prepare that way, and have a long-term strategy. So, and then, I'd say the third would be, true to yourself, because, you're going to face a lot of hurdles and, obstacles, and, people naysaying constantly, even from, the cannabis world. So I think, you have to be open, but at the same time, you have to be, sort of headstrong to get through, all the obstacles that we face all the time.
Exactly. It's you're not going to just build something overnight. You're absolutely right, and I really appreciate that. Discipline was your first principle, having that persistence and continually waking up every day and chipping away, or in maybe the analogy of planting a forest or a hemp field. It's not going to happen in a week. You got to plant the seeds, prepare the soil, put the seeds in the ground, let them sprout. And then those, you got to get out there every day and water, which is that long-term strategy, every day getting up and watering and feeding those plants. And then, like you said, being true to yourself, which in our case is, staying as organic as possible, as local as possible, as sustainable as possible, not polluting, and honoring, being integrous with our word and following our word. So those are awesome principles. I appreciate that. And with just 2 minutes left, if there was something that you could share with our listeners that they could do today to make some sort of change in the world for the better, for the cannabis plant and for the industrial hemp movement, what would you suggest that they could do today to make a difference?
I would say consume cannabis. I think our consumption is our key to liberation. It's kind of like, well, not in the same, but in the same kind of thing about Gandhi spinning your own home cotton or whatever. Like, if we just used our own power daily, especially with eating hemp food, we would see the change in the world that we would desire.
You heard it, folks, from Dion Markgraaff. If you don't use it, you lose it. So let's start using hemp more and integrate it into your daily lifestyle, whether you're eating it, wearing it, using plastics, whatever it is that you can do to integrate hemp into your lifestyle. We're here to empower your hemposphere. Dion, thank you so much for being on today's show. Hopefully we can have you on a future hempisode.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Hemp on.
All right. Have a blessed day, everybody. Make it hempin'. If you need anything hemp-related, connect with us, 805-410-4367. It's an honor and a privilege to bring hemp education, hempowerment to your hemposphere. Go check out HempAware Radio at hempaware.com/radio. If you need, ropes, twine, seeds, whatever it is hemp-related, we're happy to integrate it into your projects, into your dreams, and make your hemp dreams come true. Make it a blessed day. This is your host, Tyler Hemp, checking off.